Alright guys, Uschi is going to show you how she collects her food bowls. Uschi, get your food bowl. Come on. Thank you. Uschi, food bowl. Is it outside? Is there a food bowl outside? Food bowl. Good girl. Good job. Thank you. Uschi, food bowl. Now she's searching. Usually searches each room. She found it. Good girl. And that's how Uschi collects her food bowls. Hi Newfoundland. I'm Alex Pitawanaquat and this is my Newfie Uschi, and we're going to teach you how to retrieve things today. So the first step is get some delicious treats. And I usually work with a couple because I don't want my dog to get bored. So I have a couple options, and pick what you want your dog to retrieve. I showed you the food bowls. That's my favorite trick, but I'm going to use a set of keys that she's never retrieved before, so she's going to learn it for the first time along with you guys. So once you have your retrieve item, have some treats ready, and the first step is to teach the dog that they can hold it in their mouth. So what I like to do is physically put the item in their mouth, and I use my thumb just behind their canine to gently open their mouth, pop the item in, take it out, give them a treat. And the first time you do this, your dog's going to think it's kind of weird. He's going to spit the item out. You might have a little bit of trouble handling his mouth in the first place. So it might take 20 or 30 reps before your dog's comfortable with that. You might work on it for a couple of days. So be prepared for that possibility. But a nice byproduct of this style of retrieve training is that you can handle your dog's head and mouth very, very easily. So because of that type of training, I can do this. I can lift her lips up, I can look at her teeth, I can open her mouth, check out what's going on in there, I can look at her eyes really easily. So I think that this type of retrieve training is an excellent way to do it. But there are many options, so do what works for you. I take the item in one hand, and I just have my treats on a table nearby. Gently open your dog's mouth, put the item in. Good girl. Give him a treat. Good girl. Yes, good girl. Uschi, sit. And I'm just having her sit so she stays in the frame of the video. You can work with your dog in whatever position they're comfortable in. Could be a sit, a down, a stand, doesn't matter. Yes, good girl. Okay, so you can see Uschi is comfortable with me putting the item in her mouth. So now it's time for the most important step, the magic part of teaching a solid retrieve where your dog will hold on to the item no matter what. Use this if you are teaching your dog water rescue, if you are working toward obedience, or even if you just want to play fetch and have the dog bring the ball to you and not spit it out halfway there. So for this, I'm going to get a big cookie. I want the dog to be able to see it really clearly so you can see it at home. Sit. I'm going to put the item in Uschi's mouth. I'm going to hold the cookie, leave it. I'm going to hold the cookie right in front of her face. As long as she holds the item, the cookie is visible. The moment she lets go, the cookie disappears. So item's in her mouth, cookie appears. Yes, good girl. And she knows the tricks. So she's not going to spit it out, but I'm going to try some things to see if she'll let go so you can see what to do. So she's holding it. The cookie is visible. Whoops. She let go. Cookie disappeared. Good girl. Whoops. And you can see she knows how this works, so she's trying to pick it up again for me. Yes. In your dog's mouth. Hold the cookie in front of their face. dog's holding on to it really nicely, you can use the cookie to show them how to walk with the item in their mouth. Out. But you're probably not quite that far yet, so I'm just going to demonstrate a couple more times this cookie technique. Sit. Whoops. So see, when she lets go, I tell her whoops, and the cookie disappears. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Item is in, whoops. Item is in her mouth. Good, and that's a good learning example. Items in her mouth, cookies visible, out. And then I can give her her release command and reward her with her cookie. Sit. Hold the mouth, see the cookie, or hold the item, see the cookie. I'm pulling on it a little bit, teaching her to resist that pressure and hold on nicely. Out. Gave her her release command, take my girl. That is the most important part of any retrieve that I've found, is teach the dog to hold the item, and now you have a beautiful way to reinforce it. What I did when I was working with Uschi's water rescue is she would come towards shore with the bumper attached to the boat, and I'd hold that cookie, sit, stay. I'd hold that cookie right in front of her nose, and she would pull the boat all the way in. She spit out the bumper, that cookie disappeared. Very strong motivator. So now that your dog is understanding how to hold on to something, now the last part is just teaching them to pick it up off the floor. So have them reach for it. Good girl. Out. You just have them reach, moving closer and closer to the floor. And again, just a reminder, this might be 2 or 3 sessions down the road. Don't expect to get to this in 5 minutes. Out. Good girl. So I'm leaning closer and closer to the floor. Use that cookie to get her to pick her head up so she actually lifts it. A lot of dogs will get stuck holding the item with their nose on the floor. So put that cookie in front of their nose and get them to pick their head up and pick up that item. Uschi keys. Good girl. Out. So I don't know if you can hear this, but each time I take the item, I give her her release command, which is out. So she lets go when I ask for it, not when she's tired of holding it. Keys. Out. Good girl. Good girl. All right, I'd like to talk about a couple common problems you might run into. Problem number 1, your dog will not let you put the item in his mouth. You might start with something that's a little bit easier for you to handle. A bumper is fantastic for this, or you could even just start with your thumb to get your dog used to the handling. So you grab your dog's bottom jaw, put your thumb right in front of their canine, or right behind their canines. Yes. And just start with them letting you put something in their mouth so they're comfortable with it. And again, that's going to help you with teeth brushing, eye exams, ear cleaning, all of that manipulation stuff. Problem number 2, your dog will let you handle their mouth, but they're spitting out the item really, really fast. That's going to take just a little bit of repetition and some good timing. So if your dog is spitting out the item faster than you can praise them for holding on to it, just keep popping the item in their mouth, feed them a treat, pop it in, feed them a treat, and as soon as you feel comfortable with it, start trying that negative punishment technique. Negative punishment means you punish something by removing something the dog wants. So in this case, the dog wants that treat. If they spit the item out, you punish them by making the treat disappear. So they're going to try harder to hold on to it to keep that treat available to them. And this is going to depend on some good timing on your part. So don't be discouraged if you're having some trouble initially. It takes a lot of practice to get really comfortable with it. But within a couple of sessions, just a couple minutes at a time, you should start seeing your dog very noticeably holding on to that item tightly, because they understand that them letting go will make that treat disappear. All right, and so the final common problem area is that your dog won't pick the item up off the floor. To get to that, I would do a lot of reaching exercises. So instead of just putting the item in front of the dog, have the dog reach side to side, have the dog reach up, put the item down and behind them so they have to go down and look over to the side to grab it, and work your way slowly toward the floor. If your dog reaches down and grabs it but doesn't actually lift it, use the treat to lure them up. If they hold it and they're not walking, use the treat to lure them toward you, and you can even gently put your hand around their collar and help pull as you lead them with a treat, because some dogs don't understand that they can move while they're holding on to something for you. So that is everything that I have for you today. This is Alex and Uschi's trick of the weekend, so please give it a try. Let us know how you did and let us know what you'd like to see next. Thanks. Happy training.